Steve McClatchy here. We've got Peter Cook, and we're going to find out today from Peter. He's actually bought quite a few properties in Memphis, Tennessee, but as yet he's never been over there, hasn't travelled to look at the properties. So we're going to find out what his philosophy is around about that and what his thoughts are on whether you go to the US or just do your analysis from here. Hello Peter, how are you?
How are you, Steve?
Good, thanks. Can you maybe let our listeners know how you arrived at your decision to buy from here and not travel initially?
Yes, there are a number of elements in that. By nature, I tend to be very analytic. So prior to buying property anywhere in the US, I analysed the property market, I analysed its trends, things like property inventory across the US. So I'd done a large amount of analytical work before I even came near buying a property. So that's just my nature. One of my highest priorities is to minimise risk. And I certainly understand that at the point where I was ready to buy, one of my highest risks was the people that I work with and trusting the people that I work with both in the US and in Australia. And in my opinion at that point, that was my highest single risk in the investment. I chose to take that risk of not going to the US and depending on my analysis in order to make that decision. So in that regard, I was slightly increasing my risk, in my opinion, but I was decreasing my risk through analytics. The other key issue in regard to, Steve, your question, I think is that it's absolutely vital to completely remove any of your Australian ideas about property when buying property in the US. It works totally differently, tenants have different attitudes, the property market is quite different. And therefore, really, if you look at it from a risk point of view, the highest risk is actually not taking your Australian property hat off. For many people then, actually going there and seeing it, touching it and feeling it is their way of getting a feel for how the market works. And so I would suggest for those sorts of people, it's a very good idea to go over. It will reduce their risk and it will also give them the ability to get a better feel and understanding of the market. I chose to do it through detailed analysis and things like walking the streets with Google, analysing the demographics of the area and so on. So I did it a different way. I think there's strengths in both. And it really comes down to the individual.
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter.